it's always interesting to see characters who are multi-layered, like where they're good as well as bad. The portrayal of that character, I felt like, was very interesting. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. This is Sankarshan Joshi, and in this video I'm gonna be reacting to the trailer of Bimbisara. Bimbisara is an upcoming Indian Telugu language fantasy action film written and directed by Vassishta and produced by NTR Arts. It stars Nandamuri Kalyan, Catherine Teresa, Samyuktha Menon and Warina Hussain. Kalyan plays the king Bimbisara, who ruled the Magadha Empire in the 5th century BCE. Bimbisara is scheduled to be released on 5th August 2022. The description of this movie sounds very interesting. I cannot wait to check the trailer out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
మనం ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాం నాన్న?
ఓ మహాచక్రవర్తి బింబిసారుడు ఏలిన రాజ్యానికి.
రాక్షసులరుగని రావణ రూపం. శత్రువులు గెలవలేని కురుక్షేత్ర యుద్ధం. త్రిగర్తన సామ్రాజ్యాధిపతి బింబిసారుడి విశ్వరూపం.
బింబిసారుడంటేనే మరణ శాసనం. ఇక్కడ రాక్షసుడైనా భగవంతుడైనా ఈ బింబిసారుడు ఒక్కడే. ఈ ప్రపంచమంతా నా కాలి కింద చెప్పులా ఉండాలనేది మా నాన్న కల.
బింబిసారుడే వస్తాడు, వాడే ఆ నిధిని తెరుస్తాడు. ఆ కాలమే ఇప్పుడు మీ ఇద్దరి మధ్య వారధి. గ్రహగతులను తలదన్ని కాలచక్రాన్ని అధిగమించి ఉత్పన వేగంతో బింబిసారుడి పాదం ఈ నేలని తాకబోతోంది శాస్త్రి.
పట్టుమని 100 మంది కూడా లేరు. ఓ యుద్ధం మీద పడితే ఎలా ఉంటుందో చూస్తారు. కానీ ఇప్పుడొచ్చే గండాన్ని ఎవ్వరూ తప్పించలేరు. ఎవడ్రా నిన్ను పంపిందని పైనున్న ఆ యముడు అడిగితే చెప్పు. కిందొకడున్నాడు, వాడి పేరు బింబి, త్రికర్తల సామ్రాజ్యాధిపతి బింబిసారుడని చెప్పు.
Whoa! What the heck, man? Was that a crocodile that just popped out of nowhere? There is a lot to unpack from this trailer. So, there are good and bad aspects of this trailer. So let me just start off with good aspects. First is, I was really impressed by Kalyan's acting in few scenes, like his voice modulation and his expressions. This trailer had a really amazing background music, so I must say that for a movie like this, right, background music is going to be the core, because if they're trying to elevate the hero of the movie in certain scenes, background score is going to be the core aspect of it. So I really enjoyed the background music and seems very interesting, to be very honest. Like, I don't know what the story is. Like, they didn't show much about the plot of the story, right? Like, what it's going to be like. They just told that, there is a character, Bimbisara, and there is a modern day character. And there is a scene where Kalyan He's in his casuals, like a modern clothing, and he calls himself Bimbisara. So maybe it's like this flashback sort of a dynamic movie. So that is just a sneak peek of what the story might be. So we honestly don't know what is the core of this movie, like what's the core of this plot. And the character, right, the character building of Bimbisara, I felt very interesting. So he says that he is the biggest god or he's the biggest Rakshasa. Both are him. He says that in a scene, right? So is Bimbisara a good character, or is Bimbisara an evil character, or it's a combination of both? It's always interesting to see characters who are multi-layered, like where they're good as well as bad. The portrayal of that character, I felt like, was very interesting. They didn't give much insight on what the modern day Kalyan Ram's character is going to be like. So he was in his suit. So what does he do? What is he? They didn't give much insight about that. And also the villain of the movie, right? There is a scene which reminded me of Magadheera, where there is a modern day character and there is this sage sort of a character who is explaining him about a mythological character and how that character is going to be coming back. That particular segment reminded me of Magadheera. I felt like the scenes or the story of whatever I could figure out by looking at this trailer, I felt like it is not something new or unique that we haven't already seen. So whatever they're trying to do here, Magadheera has already done it, right? Like long back. So the exact representation of this, like a mythical character being there who's talking about Bimbisara and how he'll be back to the villain, right? And villain is always this corporate guy who is evil and he's after money or he's trying to seek something, and then how a character comes back to life. So I felt like that element was very repetitive and jarring, and it was not something unique. So, and the graphics of this movie, right, like in certain aspects was really bad. This I felt like a wannabe Bahubali in terms of visuals. I know, I am sorry, NTR fans, to be saying this, but I felt like the visuals of this movie was like a wannabe Bahubali, where the graphic was poor and it was very evident that it's a graphic. And the setup of the nature, right, there is a scene where Kalyan Ram is among plants, and when you look at that scene, you know very obviously that those are artificial plants. So it just throws you off, In my previous video, while I was reacting to Kartikeya 2's trailer, right, so the importance of visuals for the audience when they're sitting and when they're watching, they need to be consumed in the world, right, that they're seeing. So if visuals are bad, it just throws you off, man. It's like you're watching a pro serial. It's like that, like when you're watching serial, the graphics and visuals are so jarring, and like this movie, certain visuals were just like what you normally see in serials, and the costume, right, the costume and the setting was also very artificial. So it is the job of a director to create a world where everything is believable. Like when you take a creator such as Rajamouli, right, the amount of effort that he put into the details, like the tiny details, and that's what makes him an exceptional director when he's creating a world like that. Even when you see RRR, right, like when they're showing the world of Ramcharan or when they're showing the world of NTR, there are like details, the creation of the set, the costumes, they make it look very natural. And the costumes used in this movie for Bimbisara, it just looks like they have taken up from a theater company, It looks very dramatic. It doesn't look natural. It just looks like when you're watching a historical play. When you're watching a historical play, they wear these costumes, right? These costumes look to me like that. I felt like they could have put in a lot more effort into creating a details for the costume. I liked a few aspects of the movie, like the performance, the background score, and the action sequence were good in this movie in few scenes. But majority chunk of this trailer, I was disappointed, to be very honest. So when I saw the trailer and the amount of views that it got, and a lot of people looking at it, and like it was circulating a lot, I was very pumped up for this trailer. But it just turned out to be a wannabe Bahubali, if you ask me. And in terms of visuals, I mean, of course, the story would be completely different. Movies like this, right, where there is a modern day setting and there is a old mythological character and there is a flashback element to it. They just go back and they just come. It's like a reincarnation of the mythological character in the modern day setting. Normally, movies like this are not a commercial success because the story, it you know as a matter of fact what the story is. So let me guess. There is this evil character in the modern day and there is a hero. And then they just go back to flashback and they're just showing you the Bimbisara as a king. And then they come back to the modern day and then the hero kills the villain, right? And that is a very repetitive story that you see anyways. Like normally back in the day, we have seen a lot of movies like this. Since I haven't seen the movie, since I didn't get a lot of insight of the story itself, I am just making assumptions of what the story could be. And normally the villain also goes back in the flashback, right? It's like the villain also is a reincarnation and the hero is also reincarnation. So that's what MAGADHEERA is, right? Like where the hero and villain both are the reincarnation of their previous life and then the history repeating itself. So I just hope that is not the case with this movie because it becomes very similar to MAGADHEERA. But MAGADHEERA was a huge hit because that was the start of, like, that was a one of a kind movie where that was a trendsetter, like back in the day, that was a huge success. And people never really saw movies like that before. But since then, a lot of different movies have come with the similar concept. So now that concept has become very familiar. So I just hope that this movie story won't be very predictable. So yeah, those are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. I would watch this movie to see if I am wrong in any aspects. And I would love to be wrong because I would love to encourage actors like Kalyan Ram, like who have potential to do great.